Well, thank you.
For those that are here.
14
Hey,
seconds.
15 seconds late, dude. Southwest Airlines, they take out quicker than American. Yeah,
What a nice coat.
feels better than that thing you wore in Washington.
That is the one he wore.
I thought that guy was from Alaska. Yeah.
He hasn't even been home.
Oh.
Let's sleep in his car.
All right, Michelle, roll call.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Tinkerton.
Here.
Trustee Wood.
Here.
Trustee Tarpley.
Here.
Trustee Henderson.
Not here.
Yono say.
Student trustee Weiss.
Here.
Superintendent President Walden.
Here.
So public comment announcement. The complete written request to address the board shall be submitted at the beginning of the open session portion of the meeting. Individuals may comment after being recognized by the board president before board discussion of a particular item according to board policy 2350. Do we have anybody?
We do not.
We do not. With that, we go to closed session. Thank you.
Do you see the folder? Okay, good.
Good evening and welcome to Victor Valley Community College Board of Trustees meeting.
Bless you.
Michelle, roll call.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Pinkerton.
Here.
Trustee Wood.
Here.
Trustee Tarpley.
Here.
Trustee Henderson.
Here.
Trustee Weiss.
Here.
Superintendent President Walton.
Here.
We are honored to have the Chief of Staff for First District Supervisor, Vice Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Kimberly Messon, here to deliver our Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is Pastor Mickey here? Pastor Mickey? Mike. Pastor Mike. Is he here? Hey, Tim, can you lead us in our invocation?
Good evening. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you again for this opportunity to come together and make decisions that impact this valley. We ask for your guidance on those decisions tonight. We ask for your blessing upon this college. We thank you for the safe return of our board members from their recent trip representing this college. Father, we pray for your blessings upon us, upon this school, and upon our students. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Dr. Walton, you want to talk about closed session?
Yes. The report out on closed session. The board convened in closed session at 5 p.m. All 5 members were present. Item 2.1, performance evaluation to superintendent president. The superintendent president submitted his goals, which were accepted by the board. The board evaluated the superintendent president as outstanding. Thank you very much. Item 2.2.
You notice you're the one that tells everybody that, right?
I'm doing what you told me.
No, he's doing a great job. We're really proud.
Item 2.2, conference with real property negotiators. Direction provided to negotiators, no action taken. Item 2.3 and 2.4, performance evaluation and discipline dismissal release for employee on 01/01/21324. On a motion by trustee Tarpley, seconded by trustee Pinkerton, the board voted 5-0 to non-renew the contract for employee number 01/01/21324 for the 24-25 school year. Employee number 01/01/21324 will be provided notice of the non-renewal by March 15th, 2024. Closed session adjourned at 5:30 p.m.
Michelle, do we have any items been deleted or added or deleted from the agenda? Board trustees will listen to communication from the public on non-agendized items pertaining to college business. Each speaker is limited to 1 presentation per meeting on non-agendized matters. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual and a total of 15 minutes per topic. Speakers will be timed electronically, and all speakers will be called to approach the microphone at the appropriate time to speak. Only those that have been recognized by the board president will be permitted to speak. State law prohibits the board from addressing any issues not included on the agenda, according to Board Policy 2350. Do we have anybody to speak on anything? No. With that, I've got the distinct pleasure of introducing somebody that's very well known to the High Desert. As we started this new the board in December, at the beginning of each board meeting, we have an elected official. Tonight we have First District Supervisor and Vice Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Paul Cook. Paul has also been involved with the community college business. I think was an instructor out there at Copper Mountain at one time. Yeah. So before I'm going to read just a real short bio. Kimberly Messon is his chief of staff, and Tim is it in Terry? It's like how do you pronounce Tim's last name? Ettenheimer. Okay, so he was telling me the other day it's like Spitfire, but I mean that's close. Paul, I want to tell you he has done a tremendous amount of work to make this thing happen tonight. Unfortunately, he has an illness in his family. He's not here. I'm bummed that he's not here because I personally want to recognize him. So I want to let you know personally how much I appreciate what he did.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
He was my student at Copper Mountain Community College. Brilliant student, and the rest is history. But right here, who knows?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have people that are much more capable than I am. But he's been with me all along. And obviously, I haven't been able to hold the job down. So I've been around the block a little bit. But it was absolutely brilliant. And anybody that wants community college.
I was probably on the freeway looking at my phone like I wasn't supposed to today when I get this urgent text from him saying he couldn't be here. I thought he was going to tell me you couldn't be here, but he couldn't in because of a family illness. So I appreciate it. So Paul Cook is a retired colonel, was elected to represent the 1st District of San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors in March 2020 and began his term on December 20th, 2020. As an infantry officer, served with distinction in the United States Marine Corps and veteran of the Vietnam War. Colonel Cook's military career spanned 26 years. His actions in combat earned him a number of honors, including 2 Purple Hearts and a Bronze Star Medal with V for Valor. He retired from the Marine Corps in 1992 as a colonel. Colonel Cook was elected to serve in the United States House of Representatives in November of 2012, representing California's 8th Congressional District, which includes the high district communities of San Bernardino County, as well as Mono and Inyo counties. Prior to his election to the United States House of Representatives, Colonel Cook represented the 65th Assembly District for 6 years in the California State Legislature. Paul, please come forward and talk. We've allotted 10 minutes. We have another distinguished individual behind you, Alfred Logan from Spring Valley Lake, that you may want to stay and listen to what he has to say, and both of you can share some great things. So why don't you come forward? Thank you.
Well, I want to thank you very much for inviting me here. Obviously, the word community college is, I'm a big believer in the success, the failures, what you do and don't do. That's where I got my start, I guess, in teaching. I never thought, I wasn't sure what I was going to do because I was out of the Marine Corps and this and that. And they asked me if I would teach a couple of courses in public administration, and ended up teaching one in history and this and that. I don't know. I really enjoyed it because let's face it, you're right there with the students. It's not like you go to UCR, and I've been there, and you go into a lecture hall. And I never liked teaching at University of California, Riverside. First of all, they got 144 gadgets there. And I tried it one night, and they had to call the fire marshal because I almost set the dais on fire with all the different gadgets you have here. And but I have taught in community colleges. I taught at UCR. I taught at Cal State. But where you get the best feeling, at least from you're right there with the students. And you know right away whether you're getting to them or somebody's falling asleep, and you don't even have to hear the snoring, before you know you've lost them. So you get almost that instant feedback. And it's one which, when I was doing it, I enjoyed it very, very much. I got to tell you, I'm going to, my staff said, make sure you tell the board all the great things you've done. I do my job. And sometimes on the board of supervisors, I'm a little bit aggressive because I want to make sure, quite frankly, that we take care of the 1st District. Sorry, okay? I started off on the Board of Supervisors, and I got in an argument with Caltrans. I don't know if, we've calmed down a little bit, but guess what it was all about? The damn pass. And maybe I shouldn't bring it up now. We're actually talking to one another for a change. But I was trying to get data. And they fought me tooth. You know what I wanted to find out was, the number of accidents, how many people were killed, how many were injured, so I could use that to substantiate the argument to improve that area. Because everybody knows it's got one of the biggest fault lines there. Everybody knows that sooner or later, it might be 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years, we're going to have the big earthquake. And we're going to be stranded up here. So I have apologized to Caltrans. I was probably a little nasty. And Joe knows sometimes I'm not the nicest guy in the world. And I'm not as sweet as he is, but sometimes Caltrans and the bureaucracies in Sacramento and in Washington and the county can be difficult. So my argument was, hey, I represent the people. Those are the ones that, in many ways, risk their lives going down there and coming up, and it's going to, all I have, I'm trying to get data for it. Anyway, and I'm also trying to get money for it. The battle continues, at least we're talking. And I wanted to keep that because you probably might have heard that Caltrans and I weren't even, we are talking. But boy, they're difficult to deal with when it comes to that area. And I just want to get it in the budget. And when you deal with projects, and we have a number of projects that I've been successful. I'm not going to bore you with them, but real big, by the way I am, on parks, things like the Mojave Narrow Splash Pad. And I don't know if you guys hang out there. I'm sure you're not there with a case of beer or anything like that, or others have been reported there. The Trona sewer line replacement, which is really exciting. Oro Grande Community Center and Park improvements. Phelan, Pinion Hills Community Park Project. We've been very, very successful, and there's a number of others that hopefully we continue to get some money. That's what you're there for. I don't know. I feel like sometimes everything up here, they kind of forget us a little bit, at least the bureaucracies in Sacramento. And I'll be honest with you, the feud I had with Caltrans was not very pretty. But they wouldn't even talk to me. They wouldn't give me statistics. They wouldn't let me know how many people had been injured, how many accidents, where they were. I need data if I'm going to get money for a project. And I was probably obnoxious. And I'm sorry. I'm 80 years old. I'm going to be 81. I don't have that much time left. But I'm going to keep fighting for that. It's not over yet. And we did get some money. Money. I'm very sensitive to anything which relates to colleges. I've taught at community college. I taught at Cal State San Bernardino. I've taught at UCR. Obviously, I haven't been able to hold a job down since they threw me out of the Marine Corps after 26 years. But I enjoyed teaching. And community college, I think, is the best example. Because sometimes you have people there that, I don't know how they do it. Some of them have 2, 3 jobs and they're working, they're trying to get a college degree. They got kids, everything's going on. It's very, very difficult. And I honestly think that until you've been in a community college environment, you're not going to understand that. It's a little bit different. but it's almost from an educational standpoint. You're right there where, you know, the rubber meets the road. So I'm always going to be helping you if I can. As a board, you're listening to me, and I'm going to say to you, don't be shy. And that is, well, I have everybody under the sun that asks me for money or prizes, and you got to be there too. I don't know. It's one of those things you get in at least the county board, and you know they're good friends and everything else. But when it comes to money or allocations or projects, you know, I'm not saying I would elbow somebody and knock them down if there came a vote and they missed it and they decided to go to the first district. Oh, what a shame. And I am exaggerating, but you got to be a little bit aggressive. And you also have to learn to work with your partners. Hey, let's talk about this. We need this project up there. It's very, very important. There are a lot of things that you need. I'll tell you right now, anything with safety, I am extremely interested in. You can count the number of accidents on the street, everything that goes back, the number on the freeway. And I think our area, the first district, is often forgotten. And that's why I was very, very disturbed when Caltrans wouldn't give me at least the data. I'm not trying to run to the paper or anything. I need that to make an argument before a board such as this or hire one to get funds and get approval for a project. That's the way I work. This is, budgets are going to be very, very difficult, as everybody knows. And the hardest thing, I think, is get an agreement from you people, what you want as to, I always ask, okay, if somebody, what's number one, what's number two, or what's number three? If you don't have a consensus on this board, then we're going to have problems. Because I can't, but if you, as a board, work together and you say, look, Cook, this is what we need. Do you get it? We argued, we decided to have a beer over it. That didn't work out because we threw the beer at each other, but we came up with a consensus on what is 1 through 5, 6, or what have you. That's the way it works. I'm obviously a little long in the tooth, but I'm not afraid to argue certain causes. I think Joe Brady taught me Sense and Sensibility. Was that the movie or something like that? But I think he also taught me to take no prisoners. If you have an issue, and that is whether there's people dying on that highway or this road out here, and there's ways to correct it, as a representative, you have a moral responsibility to find a way to correct that. That's the way I approach it. I've been doing this a long time. Obviously, you heard my bio. I left Congress. It was, part of it was just a difficulty when you're out here trying to catch a plane and fly back and forth. Very, very difficult for people from California. And like other people, I was having some health issues. Fortunately, right now I'm in pretty good shape. My leukemia is in remission and things like that. And I feel full of, pep and vinegar. There's one thing you should be aware of. There's a bill in Congress that has just been passed or going to be passed. It involves fusion funding. It's a lot of money. Now, when there's something like that, everybody goes for it. the one good thing about being in Congress, and I hope I haven't angered all of my former colleagues, is there are certain friends there that you can call up and say, hey, Ken, we have an issue here. You're on the Appropriations Committee. My area needs this. And that's the only way you're going to get it. Now, I'm exaggerating, there's paid lobbyists and everything else, but when you make friends, when you have people, you can explain your ask so that if people are dying because of a road that has so much traffic and what have you, you've got to do something to correct it. I won't go into specifics. I will say that, we have been successful in passing. This really sounds exciting. Sewer line replacement projects. The Trona sewer line. Every night when you go to bed, you thank God for the Trona sewer line replacement. At least in Trona they do, because, by the way, we were just out there for their new high school. I thought there would be like 3 people. They had like 3. This is Trona. Anybody been here and taken a vacation in Trona? It's beautiful.
Has anybody ever done a real estate deal in Toronto? I did.
Have you?
Yeah, there was no grass.
There was what?
Nothing grows in Toronto.
Really?
Nothing grows.
Nothing grows on the ground.
It sounds like gross. Sorry.
The best way to describe it is, Blake, the people are great. They really are.
They
And,
love Toronto.
yeah, and I had to go out there. It was a new high school, and the high school collapsed because of an earthquake. And I went out there and I thought, well, it's going to be me and my staff. And we went out there. They had like 100 people in Trona. And that speaks volumes, I think, about the community. Anyway, I'm wondering. The Mojave Narrows splash pad. I love parks. So if you can generate areas for parks or anything, I can really, really push on that. Okay, because I get all excited about it. Oro Grande Community Center and park improvements. I mentioned some of these projects, and I don't want to go all the things over and over again. But I go back a long ways. Yes, am I talked too long?
A little bit, only
Okay.
because we got a long agenda tonight.
Oh,
But
well,
otherwise-
I apologize. My wife took
no,
my
no.
Timex away from me.
I will tell you one thing. By the time we all get to our homes tonight, we will come up with a Christmas list for you.
Fair enough.
And Kimberly, what time do you start in the morning so we can email you our wish list?
She's not disclosing.
9.
9. Paul,
I shall
one,
never read
I-
it.
you know what, thanks for fighting for us. Thanks for letting us know there is still some money out there. I'm sorry you had a problem with Caltrans, we all do. We did a survey years
Anybody here
ago.
from Caltrans? I apologize.
The past is the worst, but listen, thanks for coming. Tell Tim I hope that his family's better. Kimberly, thank you for bringing us all together and doing that.
And by the way, the last thing, I'm not so hot. I'm average, but I got a great staff. And they know that everything is about you guys here. So thank you
You
very
do have
much
great
for
staff,
everybody.
thanks.
Take care.
Appreciate it. So our next speaker doesn't need a whole lot of introduction within this region, but I'm pleased to introduce Alfred Logan. Alfred, you've been in Spring Valley Lake for what, 15 years? You've been the general manager for what, 10 years? Yeah, very, very well known. He oversees an association that's about 1,000 acres, 4,215 lots. He has a staff of 50 people, a pretty big budget, about $5 million. I know that Bill Scott, who's on the foundation board, is here tonight, and he's also a board member at the association. Robert Reed. Robert, you still here?
Yeah,
Sorry.
there. Yeah.
Robert's a former president, former board member. So a little bit of history. VVC owns 19 lots that are assessed every year as a part of our dues to the association. The person that actually kind of brought this to my attention is a current board member. I told him I would never say who it was, but he told me today I could, and it's David Stolfus. David had called me about 4 months ago and said, every year, so in March, we will probably have up to 10 people that are running for this year's election. We have 4 members one year, 3 members the next year. They typically come here and they ask for one of 19 votes. And every year we've heard the same thing, and the board here, the board of trustees here have been here long enough, that from the people that run, and they have a great heart, they always say we want to have a better relationship with VVC. And as David said, it's never really happened, and I have to agree. So I reached out to Alfred, we had lunch, and said, maybe it's time that we have this public dialogue. So you've got 7 to 10 minutes to kind of talk about what you're doing, what your vision is, and how the two of us, we contribute almost $40,000 a year to Spring Valley Lake. I think you're a great neighbor. I think we're a great asset. But now let's get the rubber to the road and see where we start the dialogue. So Alfred, thanks for coming tonight.
Good evening, trustees, staff, and community. I'll take a little bit less time because Mr. Paul, he took some of our time. But I do want to thank him for he's taking care of some permits. So we send a letter to their office, and they have taken care of some permits that we needed for the community. It was good having lunch with you and discussing the community needs and us working closer together. What I want to talk about is I believe that behind the scenes, we have been working closely with VVC. I've been working with Frankie Castaños. He has been instrumental in helping us. I'm almost embarrassed to say I don't even know what Frankie's position is, but he does everything. He does everything, and so we contact him for classes. We contact him, and he's just like, give everybody my number. I'll take care of them. And we've been working very closely with Frankie. I send some of my staff here all the time. They take classes and they contact him, and I think I'm pretty much overwhelming him with.
You didn't tell him that he had a review tomorrow, did you?
He does have one, huh? Well, I heard his came out outstanding. I need to get mine to that level.
So Frankie, you really did this good, huh? Holy kid.
But seriously, he is outstanding. He helps us out, and so this has been going on for months and months. And also, we have a really good relationship with VVC PD, and it was really awesome to see one of our ex-employees he attended VVC and he worked for us for a while, and I see him in the back now. He's a VVC PD officer here, and it's really nice to see that one of our employees that have come from VVC worked for us for a while as our public safety department, and see him in the room today. It's really awesome to see that. And so I want to acknowledge that, but we really do work close with VVC. VVC PD does respond in the event that, let's say, San Bernardino County officers extended or they need some type of help. VVC PD has been there. It hasn't been anything that they've brought up in front of everyone, but your organization has been more than accommodating. Frank and I, we've talked about internships, so we want to actually go down that route to look into different options. We have different positions coming up. We actually send our director of public safety down here every so often. This is something that Frank and I talked about. And she does presentations on the opportunities for public safety. One thing that I don't think VVC gets to see is the results of staff coming to VVC and then transitioning into what they do in real life. So I'll give you an example. Our public safety department, you guys have probably over 50% of our staff has attended VVC at one point, and they've taken classes here, worked for us, and then they've gone on to San Bernardino County Sheriff Department and CHP. And I mean over 50% of your staff that has worked for us has gone on. And they're doing really well. They're getting promotions out there. We stay in touch with them. And I think you guys don't get to see the final results of it. But we've been working closely with you guys for a while, and it's been pretty awesome. We offer a reimbursement program for our staff too, so our staff does attend VVC and they have the opportunity for reimbursement, or sometimes we directly pay for that. One of the things that I know Robert Reed is here, so I know Robert Reed is passionate about the youth and things like that, and so I don't want to go into too far into that, but there are a lot of ideas. When I talked to Frankie over the phone, we talked about 1,000,001 different ideas, and so he's kind of had me slow down and say, okay, let's do one thing at a time, let's get that done and move on to something else. And so what I really want to know is from VVC's leadership, what is it that we can do to work closer with you guys? I'd love to see that. I would like a liaison assigned to Spring Valley Lake so that I can keep going back and forth. Frankie was just going out of his way to help us, and I'm not sure if that's the right route. And I had to check with Frankie because I said, I know we've been talking a lot, but I don't know if that was appropriate or if I'm supposed to be talking to someone else. But Frankie just popped out of nowhere and just been very helpful. And so I would like you guys to assign someone that I can officially speak with and talk with. And if it's Frankie, that's really awesome. And just us actually have some. When I met with Mr. Brady, he talked about how he likes to get things done. And so he doesn't want to just have a conversation with me. He likes action items, and that's the same way I am. And so I'd like to, number one, have someone that's assigned that we continue to talk. We have goals, we reach those goals, and then they come back and report to you guys. And then, like I said, from the leadership, whatever we can do to work with you guys do have approximately 19 lots here. You guys are more than welcome on your minutes to identify individuals that are in charge of those lots to actually use the amenities. And so that's one thing I have not seen you guys do is really come down and actually show whose name is on there. You guys can have up to 4 guests. So you guys can literally do 4 guests times 19 and literally come out there and have a leadership team meeting at our beach area or whatever you guys like to do. You guys have access to our facilities. You guys have access to our fireworks show. You guys are paying, like Mr. Brady said, you guys are paying for those lots, and we appreciate it, but we also want you guys to enjoy it. And we have a lot of awesome events, and so that's one thing that, for staff appreciation on your end, you can say, hey, they got a fireworks show, you guys can go down there, they have a concert. We spend you guys' assessments on the amenities and keeping SBLA safe. And we want to make sure you guys have access to that. So with that being said, I don't want to take up too much time, but I'd love any feedback, or if you guys are going to discuss it at another time, let me know, and then we go from there.
Well, Alfred, I'll tell you, you did nail the right guy because our executive director of instruction is getting a new title tonight.
Wow.
Announcing it ahead of time. Wow. 15.10 on the agenda later is Frank Castaños, and he is the guy who would be working. We're hiring another manager under him,
Okay.
who is just in charge of building a community educational program.
Okay.
Our cabinet met yesterday, and we felt like this was one area that VVC could really put this new position to work, is in helping in the and partnering with you in Spring Valley Lake, as well as the other things you're already doing. But Frank oversees the whole group of people as executive director that would be able to give you the kind of response you want from the college and would give us what we would like to have from you. So that's your man. You already know him.
All right, that works. Congratulations. I didn't know that. Okay. Awesome.
Alfred, thanks. I think you opened up a great dialogue. If we're going to talk about, we have to agendize it. I'm going to ask that it be agendized for either March or April. We know that you have a group that'll be here probably in March. Before I forget, is there anybody else from the board here or anybody else that's running for the board at Spring Valley Lake that I didn't acknowledge tonight that's here? Okay, so I want to be sure.
It's good to see one of our board members in the back, Scott. Good to see
You
you.
got Bill back there. Hello, Mr. Scott.
Hey, Joe.
Nice to see you.
Mr. Brady.
Yeah, right. That's my father. So, Alfred, thanks.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate it. Thanks. Next item is Board of Trustee Goals. So who's up tonight?
You.
Oh.
Piped him down.
So I'll make this quick, but so for those that have not heard this before, as board trustees, we all have goals. We report on them every other meeting. Mine seems to be a fun goal, but it does take a fair amount of work. I think so far we have done 7 industry lunches with industry. The first one was with the media. We've done commercial brokers, property managers, general contractors, mining. The mining lunch that we did about 5 months ago, there were 20, 25 people from the mining industry there. By the time we got done, they offered a $500,000 piece of equipment if we could find a place to put it and train. So this year's goals, hold on here. So I've been working with Dr. McKenzie and with Dr. Todd We actually had lunch here about 2 months ago. We're going to do the top automotive and the automotive dealerships. So we have a great automotive program here, that Mr. Bennett runs. So I think there's a great need. The aerospace companies, I've been working with Eric Schmidt, who used to be on the VVC board, Craig Garrett, who's on the the VVC Foundation, both of them VVC Foundation. I think we have the list of people in aerospace and the defense, so we're going to do a lunch. Automotive repair, I'm going to be leaning on Trustee Tarpley's great husband, Mikey, to help with that, as well as Mr. Bennett. Beauty salons, we now have a great program, and so I've been working with Dr. Tarango. We have pulled data from our office and supplied it to her. The top industrial developers will probably be sometime next year. We're looking at top restaurants within the region to have lunch with them and talk. And one that I think is going to be very, very important is to get all the major union groups that are in the region together. So there are almost 10 different unions working within the region here that I think are going to have a huge impact on the high desert, whether it's building buildings at SCLA or building the Bright Line project or building construction projects. So I think it'd be the first time that anybody or any group has brought all of them together under the same roof. I've been told, Joe, you're not going to get all 10 of them there. Well, when you have the chef that we do and Tyler, and he cooks a great meal, you just have to bribe people. You don't have to tell them that everybody is going to be there, and hopefully they'll show. The last one we want to do, and we're going to coordinate this with Kirsten Acosta, our executive director in the back, is a private luncheon and tour with the chairwoman of San Manuel or Yavapai. They give our college and foundation about $150,000 a year. I was at lunch with her about 6 months ago. I happen to know the former chairman, James Ramos, who's a graduate from here. So we want to do a separate tour for her, separate lunch, and then a tour of the campus. So that's a little bit of our goals. We're running about 2 months behind. I will say that I do appreciate the help that Dr. Tarango and Dr. Scott have offered. Our staff is a little bit thinner today than it was, so we don't have all the time in the world to do this, but we have pulled data, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So hopefully there's no questions on that. Board communication. At this time, the Board of Trustees will report on matters directly related to their functions as board members, attendance at conferences, professional affiliations, and community involvement. So I would like to start with our student trustee.
I think she has
Oh,
her own
okay.
report.
I do.
You want to wait?
I can wait till mine.
Okay. Trustee Tarpley. You get to go first. No? You're nicer than he is.
I really don't want to go first.
You know?
No.
You want Trustee Henderson to go
Yes.
first? Okay, Trustee Henderson.
What do
Thank
we
you.
got? Okay, we all went to Washington, D.C., and it's a really impressive place to be if you've never been there. Did a lot of walking,
Yes, we did.
and I got to see the Lincoln Memorial, got to see the Smithsonian Space and Air and Space Museum, and then we saw other things like I don't know what you call that thing that sticks up in the air.
The Space Needle.
Space Needle, yeah. There you go. The Space Needle.
The Washington Monument.
The Washington Monument. I like the Space Needle better. I've been there too.
Dennis has a little jet lag, so don't worry about it.
I was at the Space Needle once. That was good. It was good too. But anyway, Washington Monument and the Air and Space Museum was really impressive. I couldn't believe all the stuff they had in there. They even had a section for cars, for fast cars that you want to move in a car. They had on all there. They even had the Wright brothers up there. Anyway, and so anyway, it was fun. It was a good trip. Learned some stuff at the during the sessions. Looks like everything's going smooth with the people that put the thing on
ACCT.
ACCT, and it was fun. I wouldn't want to do it again anytime soon because I didn't like the flights, you know. But anyway, it was a good time. Wish you all could have been there. Anyway, there was a lot of us in our contingent when we had 4 students and 5 trustees, Robert and Dan
Andrew.
Yeah.
And Andrew.
and Andrew. Hey. Okay.
And you notice they said, and Andrew.
Yeah.
And a partridge.
Also,
Yeah,
and
yeah, a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah,
No,
so,
it was a good trip. It was
Great.
fun.
okay. Trustee Wood?
All right. Well, like Dennis said, I was also in DC. It was fun, but it wasn't all fun. It was honestly grueling. I'm still tired from it. I think we're all still recovering. The schedule they run is insane. I mean, they start with 7:30 breakfast briefings. The breakfast is horrible.
Yeah.
Really horrible. It starts there and rolls into other sessions in the rooms in the hotel, and then it's into the motorcade of Escalades or Suburbans
Ubers.
to the Capitol,
Uber, yeah.
and walk in the hallways and go into offices and meetings, and fun, very fun, but not just fun. A lot of work, long hours, but worth it, worthwhile. I think the 2 things that I came away with that I most appreciated, I noticed that a lot of other schools did not have students there.
Right.
They had administrators, they had some trustees, but they did not have students. So I was very proud that we had students, but then even more so, it's one thing just to have the students there for decoration. Our students, I'm fixing it. Our students were there for much more than decoration. In fact, when we were in the offices of politicians, leaders, the people who make the decisions, our students did 95.
98.
What do you think?
99.9.
95%. Well, you know, Robert has to chip in, which is a lot coming from me.
No.
But, you know, Robert chips in, so Robert probably had, you know, a little percentage. But our students did 95, 98, high 90s percent of the advocacy, of the telling of the stories, the making of the requests, making it clear exactly what we're looking for. And essentially, the rest of us kind of sat there and went, yeah,
That's what we want,
We were
yeah.
the decoration.
yeah, we were the decorations.
The bodyguard.
And so
The chaperone.
I was proud to see that our students, 1, were there, and 2, were more than just decoration to come around and say, oh, by the way, these are our students. Not you, Richie, you were just decoration. Richie's back there just dying for credit. Look at him. So adorable. But we all just spent a week together and we're all tired, so, you know.
We're very close.
A lot of trash talking while we were there too, right? Like, but no, that I was very, very proud of the fact that our students could communicate clearly and concisely exactly why they were there, exactly what we expect of these officials, exactly what we need, and exactly what we want them to do for us. We didn't have to help them. We didn't have to crutch them. It's kind of like that proud parent moment, you know, where you go like, dang, these guys are pretty good. Like, they got this. And so that was a big thing. The other thing that I came away with, and this will sound a little bit like an Old Nolte commercial, it's not. This truly happened, and it was a moment that really impressed me. We were in talking to Old Nolte, and he opened it up for questions. And I said, you know, when you watch TV, it looks like all you guys here in D.C. want to kill each other, like you hate each other. Is that true, or is that what we see on TV? And when you all walk away from the cameras, you guys are buddies walking down the hallway. And he said a couple of things. The first thing he said is the truth is most of us don't even know each other. There's so many congressmen and congresswomen, we don't even know each other. He's like, so to say, we hate each other, the vast majority of us have never met. We don't know each other. We pass each other in the hallways, maybe, if they're in the same office building. And he went on to talk about the fact that he believes that his job is to put not Republicans first, not Democrats first, but Americans first. And to that end, every week he hosts a dinner at his house that they call the bipartisan dinner. He gets an even number of Democrats and Republicans. I think he said 5 and 5, right? 4 and 4.
He let 5 and 5 though.
Was it?
No, it was 4 and 4, but he would let.
Yeah, he would do
5
5 and 5, but he does 4 and 4. And they have dinner at his house, home cooked meal, and they sit and get to know each other. They don't talk politics. They talk about where they're from, and they get to know each other, and they become colleagues across the aisle. And he believes very strongly in that, and he believes very strongly in being Americans first, not party first. And he is, admittedly slowly, but 4 at a time, well, 8 at a time, 4 and 4, so 8 at a time, trying to break down barriers. And I kind of left with a little bit of hope that maybe it's not as bad as what we see on the news, where they just all hate each other and they're getting nothing done. And so that was good to come away with as well. So a lot of work, totally worth it. I would go again. I feel like we did a good job. I feel like our message was heard. I feel like the message was more impactful, having come from the students' mouths and not from our mouths. Jay sent out a newsletter today or yesterday regarding the VVC students. And in the newsletter, he actually doesn't say anything about any of the rest of us. He said that he met with the Victor Valley College students. And I was kind of happy that he kind of only realized that he met with the students and not the rest of us. It kind of speaks to the impact that they had. They were the memorable ones. So excellent trip, I think. Time well spent.
Trustee Tarpley?
Okay.
Now you ready?
I guess.
Okay.
So since we last met, I did attend the Martin Luther King concert. So that was after the last board meeting. I did have to check my dates because I thought I was looking at old notes. That was amazing. If anybody ever gets the chance to go to that, it's pretty fun. I am participating in AXA Personnel Academy because my day job I do HR. So AXA is the California Association of School Administrators, and I'm going through the Personnel Academy, which is pretty cool. Today was my inaugural. Very pleased to announce that through my little school district, I had this epiphany that HR really needs to band together because we're in the trenches. And so we had our first ever High Desert HR Administrators Consortium meeting, and we'll be meeting quarterly. And it's really exciting to get all of the High Desert school districts together. We did have Barstow Community College there, and we're looking forward to Victor Valley College participating as well. We made a logo, we gave pens, free food. It was great. So got a lot done. Hesperia was there, Victor Union, Apple Valley, Snowline, all the major players. It was pretty cool. And then, of course, I did just return from the ACCT Legislative Conference. We spent a great deal of time. I took some vacation time and went out there. And I just cannot express how proud I am of our 4 students that attended. Such a great showing, so well spoken. Richie, Jen.
Richie, do you want to come up and take it back?
I have a presentation later, actually.
Amber and Jacob went and really represented this college beyond measure.
Yeah.
It's a very impressive group of students, and that was only 4 of our students. Imagine if we take more. And I know they're storming the Capitol again next month. So I hope that you keep up the good work. It was fascinating. Jay Obernolte hosted us for a tour. So we got to go in the tunnels and, possibly get arrested by the Secret Service because we got lost. Don't know what
We saw
happened.
Congressman Pelosi.
Yes.
You saw
We
her?
did. We saw her in her orange pantsuit. And
She
it was
walks
very-
just like you see her on
She
TV
does.
with a mission.
I thought she was going to knock us over. It was amazing. But just so very proud of the students. We all became very close. I took one night of chaperoning. Yes, it was super
Thank you
fun.
for that,
It
by the
was
way,
my
and
pleasure.
not ditching us.
My pleasure.
I appreciate it. Robert, are supposed to be a chaperone.
Oh.
Not to name any names.
Mama got you. Mama got you. So, and I wanted to mention too that the Robert arranged for us to meet with the president and CEO of ACCTG. Is his name G? That guy. And we had that dude. We had a meeting, and again, the students were very impressive, and I just cannot reiterate how well spoken and well prepared they were for these meetings with high level.
And he's coming here.
He's coming here.
Coming here.
Say what?
Yep.
When is he coming here?
We talked about a couple of dates, but we'll announce it.
That's very exciting. So he'll have some faces that he recognizes. That's very exciting. So wonderful things happening on this side of the table. On that
Vice
side.
President Trustee Sharon Pinkerton.
Well, I had a really wonderful time there, got to know our students really well. I learned a lot about Amber and Jennifer and Richie and Jacob, and the way they presented their stories to Jay Obernolte and Pete Aguilar. They expressed themselves really, really well and gave beautiful stories about themselves, so I got to learn a lot about them. And most everybody has said everything that we did there. We had a great time and saw the Capitol Mall there, just really beautiful. And I want to thank Robert for organizing it all and taking it to all those fantastic places to eat. Really enjoyed it.
Robert, I got to say, I think everybody on the board and the student trustees, you did a great job of chaperoning, being sure we're all at the same place, on the same text. This conference is a national conference. They set a record that had not been broken since 2007. They had 1,300 people there. There are 120 students. 4 of them came from VVC. If you've seen an Escalade with chrome rims driving down Bear Valley Road, there are about 5 million of those things in Washington, D.C. You don't know if they're transporting somebody legal or illegal, but everybody's got an Escalade. It's absolutely crazy. One thing I found interesting in the general comments was the disclosure by the National Community College that 1/3 of Americans don't have any digital aptitude. So as I've talked a little bit to Dr. Tarango and now to Dr. Scott, I think it opens up a huge opportunity for us to take a look at that as a program. I thought Jay's dinner at his house was great. We did have a chance to network with the trustees, 4 of the trustees at Barstow Community College. We didn't talk about college issues, so there's no Brown Act deal, but I think what it did was it really created a better bond between the 2 colleges to have 5 of us from here and 4 from there. So it was a great opportunity. We were able to slide in a quick meeting with Congressman Pete Aguilar. You'd ask, who's Pete Aguilar? Pete is a Democratic congressman from Redlands, but he's a 3rd-ranking Democrat in the Democratic Party. Ironically, we've been friends for a long time, and I can say this. I echo everything that our trustees say. I sat back. It was almost like watching your children give their story. Jen, what you said, and what Robert and Richie you talk from your heart, and from that. Pete and I had a bunch of text messages after that, but then he sent me an email this weekend, which I want to read publicly if I can open up my phone, because I thought it was rather encouraging. You really made you made quite an impression. He said, He said, good to see you and thanks for coming to the office. We are tracking a lot of these issues. I have a call with the DOE, the Department of Education, regarding the FAFSA later this week. So we had then had another conversation, and he just said to me, he said, I'm really impressed with the passion that our students had. This is really the first time that I had really had a chance to spend with you, and I was honored to do it. It's a memory I'll never forget. Robert, I do appreciate the work that you did, and I thought it was a great team building for us as trustees to really see what we did. So with that, if anybody has anything else, we'll move on to Superintendent President's report.
So I'm going to move my comments up to right now because I want to have continuity with what's been said without being redundant. I will tell you that we did have the ability to go and meet with, every state has 2 senators. Right now, we got one that's very much of a lame duck that's not going to be elected, and so we didn't work on that one too much. But we did get in to see Assemblyman Padilla, and that was, yes, Alex Padilla. And I said Assemblyman, Senator, I got an Assemblyman story to tell you in a second, but that was yesterday. So, I'm meeting with politicians every day now.
You have your hand in your pocket when you do that, right?
So Senator Padilla, Alex Padilla, was out here very involved in the state's politics and the legislature for years, but now as a senator, he was the one that filled the spot for Kamala Harris when she became vice president. So he allowed from California, from each of the community colleges that were present, he allowed 2 people from each of the colleges. So I learned, and one of the reasons it was set up like this, because I went to President's Academy, actually after I got my doctorate and learn how to be a president. One of the things they taught us there is when you go to Washington or you go to Sacramento, take students with you because they do not want to hear trustees and presidents go on and on and on. They're listening to them or not listening to them every day anyway. But they will listen to the students. And so I asked Robert, I said, Robert, this is a big trip. All 5 trustees are going. 2 of them are taking spouses. I want to take some students. So we talked about how many students. 4 students. I said, I want Andrew to go because his job is going to be to take pictures and plaster social media and keep us in social media the whole time we're there and when we get back. So we went very strategically. And these students, when we got in front of, for example, when we got in front of Congressman Aguilar, we let them speak. I introduced them, and they were the ones that spoke, because I knew we had 15 minutes at best. That's all. They usually give you 13, but we eked out a few more because he got to listening to our students, and he didn't stop them. We ended up going, and I've been in several of these meetings. I've never had one go past 15 minutes, and he went like 23 to 27 minutes, something like that, with our students, and they were so articulate and so fantastic. And I told our students when they were like, well, did we say the right? I said, look, what you did was make them feel where you came from. And just like the old saying, people don't listen. They may not remember what you said, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And our students made them feel. They talked about being on the Pell Grant. I can't do this without the Pell Grant, they said. They talked about their life story, their history, how they come up from nothing and to be where they are today. And so that was so impressive to see that. And then they met with our Congressman Obernolte, and then Jennifer and I had the privilege of going and being with in the room with Alex Padilla. Well, when we got there, because she was all ready to go, she was geared up, and I said, look, I'm just going to stand beside you. You do the talking. But it wasn't going to, we saw quickly it wasn't going to be like that. So we had our points, our little green sheets of the things that we were advocating for that they're considering in Congress. So I went up ahead of time to the table before Senator Padilla came in the room, because once he's in there, it's all about him. So I talked to his main person, the lady that gets it all done, and I started talking to her about Victor Valley College. I introduced, told her who Jennifer was over here with me, and I gave her this. I said, "Can you see that the congressman gets this sheet, because these are the issues we want him to pay attention to as he's voting, that we're here advocating for." And we got to talking, and she said, "You know, he would very much like to come and speak at your college." I said, "Oh, really?" I said, "You know, we have a graduation that attracts about 8,000 people, and I would think someone like Senator Padilla would love to talk to 8,000 people." She said, "Absolutely." So anyway, we've changed numbers and we're talking. So I don't know if I'll get him here this year, but I will tell you, we're going to work on getting him to graduation to be our speaker. So, because she's the one that said he would want to come and speak at our college, and she's supposed to know those things. Because when he got up there, he gave her all the credit. So I'm going to make that connection. And, you know, so they were taking questions, and they were getting down to the end. He said, "Just one more," and Jennifer goes like this, but she didn't get to speak. But what I did do, because Robert had, we didn't know which one of us would catch him first, but he came down for a picture, and Robert had given me a challenge coin. So when I was the first one to shake his hand when the picture was over, and I put it in his head, I said, "This is a challenge coin from Victor Valley College, and specifically Robert Sewell." And so he took that in his hand. He said, "Thank you very much." So we're going to see more from him. It was just fantastic. And I want to say here, Robert, this trip happened and it went off slick as it could go, as smoothly as it could go. Wow. If you ever need anybody to herd cats, this is your guy.
Offensive.
I tell you, he deserves it. He deserves it. Absolutely.
If you need something done at VVC, call Robert.
Or Frank.
So,
Or Frankie. Sorry, Frankie.
yeah, I called when we were getting ready to do this.
With all those things Alfred said about you tonight, you know? You should take him out to a real nice dinner at Chateau Chang.
So when we were getting ready to do this, I thought, "Oh, I've never done this." So I called my former superintendent in LA, Francisco Rodriguez, and I said, "Francisco, how do you get these trips done?" And he said, "Oh, I have somebody, I just appoint them to do it." And he gave me some guidelines, and so I gave them to Robert, and Robert picked the ball up, and he's a pro. So I just tell you, I really, really appreciate that. Joe, back on what you were talking about earlier, so the Bright Line. Yesterday, Assemblyman Carrillo had a meeting with McKenzie, Todd, myself. Who else was from our college? Was it just the three of us? And then his staff. We did a Zoom meeting with him that he had requested. He wanted to talk to us about things that he wants us to, that he's advocating for us in Sacramento. We talked about housing. He's arguing for our student housing project. But I won't go through all those things that we covered, because it's just things that you know we'd be advocating for. But the thing that I got real excited about was the Bright Line. He's working really close with them. He's already been meeting with them. We've actually had a few meetings ourselves, but they are now wanting these 6-week courses to be taught to the people to train to work on the tracks to do this installation, because they need almost 11,000 of these people. So I said, Victor Valley College, because he said the meeting is coming up real soon. I don't know if he gave us a date, but he said he's going to have a date real soon where they're going to meet and go over what they want taught. And Richard, are you listening? Because this is all about you. Because we're going to they want 6-week courses that they can run people through very quick and get them out working on there. And I said, Victor Valley College is first in line. So when you have that meeting, we want to be the first one in line to offer those courses. Obviously, we can't train all 11,000 of them, but we'll train however many we can. We'll get this done. Frank, I got to imagine you're probably going to be in on this too. And obviously, Mackenzie and Todd's going to make it all happen, because I just talk up here. They do all the work. So I'm real excited about that. I mean, that we can train the workforce for this train just for this area. I think we'll find out some more things, but this is just a real exciting thing, and I wanted to throw that in with what you said earlier.
Brightline is committed to being our May speaker. I told them that they would probably be the first speaker in the new conference room. So just an FYI. So they will be, no pressure, John.
With the rain.
Okay, so that was my comments. It's usually at the end, so that was what I had to say. Now we'll go with the part that's earlier in my report. Very important here. Todd Scott, come and talk to us about what's going to happen here next week.
Hey, Dan, for continuity.
Do you want me to do my presentation?
Oh, I thought she was going to do it later.
Well, she's on DC.
Oh, you want to do it
so-
now?
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. I
So-
can do it whatever.
I just work here.
That was slick.
Student president, you're up.
All right.
Perfect.
It's going down all official.
So, as you know, we got back last week. So senators who can make it here tonight, don't leave me up here alone. Come.
Yay!
Thank you. We pulled together a last-minute presentation just because we got back at the end of last week. So here it is, the rundown of our ACCT conference. My Vice President, Amber Herrera, cannot be here, but as you know, I'm Jennifer Weiss, the ASB President and Student Trustee. This is
Jacob Kleinsmith, I'm the Fine Arts Senator for ASB.
I'm Richie Kuroga, the Executive Senator of ASB.
correct. Thank you. Next slide, please, Kim. All right, so getting to DC, this is where it all started. Here's us at the airport at like
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning.
3:19 a.m.
So-
to be exact.
There was no lines.
We got there, and then we.
And there's no food either.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's one thing I check early in the morning, is that there's food.
McDonald's wasn't even open for breakfast, okay? And why have a McDonald's breakfast if you're not going to be open for breakfast? That's my point. That's us at the metro system once we're finally at DC. And my Senator Kleinsmith graciously spotted David O'Brien there in his pajama sweats and everything. If you wanted to go ahead and give a few words on that.
Sure. You know, we had met him at the Riverside Student Advocacy Conference, and I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and I was wondering who it was, and I was trying to go through my file cabinet real quick upstairs, and then I finally remembered his name. But he is the Vice Chancellor of California Community Colleges of Government Relations, and we had a nice chat with him until the Metro showed up, when the Metro showed up, our walk to the hotel, waiting in line for registration. So it was a great experience because that's why we go, is to kind of network like this. And he was surprised that we recognized him because he's used to getting recognized in Sacramento, but in DC he was kind of caught off guard. But he definitely remembers us. We later saw him either in the Library of Congress or the Capitol, and he said hi to us. So I think that was an important connection we made.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So why do we go to these conferences? We go to advocate for students and student rights. And what we usually do is at the conferences, they give us main bullet points so we're all on the same page. And these are just a few of the main bullet points we focused on. Of course, there's so much to focus on. But this is what we really hit and what we thought resonated with our college and where we live and what we can advocate for. Next slide, please. I'll let you take this one.
Okay. So this is the Farm Bill. There's a couple things that go with this. One of them is supporting community colleges, rural community colleges, and particularly their agricultural sector. So agriculture and natural resources. The second part of that is the SNAP. So they were talking about bureaucratic barriers to SNAP for students. I was just reading something from Senator Padilla's website that said only like 18% of eligible students applied for CalFresh, which is such a low number, and that's kind of goes into what they're trying to do with SNAP.
Thank you. Next slide, please. You can pop in whenever you want.
Oh.
So another big issue, as you know, is the Pell Grant. If you haven't heard, they're thinking of like taxing our Pell Grants, which is kind of counterintuitive if the government is going to give us aid and then later on take it from students as well. Another big issue with our Pell Grant is expanding it, especially to short-term students. and increasing the funding and expansion of it to get more funding for our Pell Grant and make it last longer for our students. And I can later expand on this in the next slide, please. Thank you. Another part of Pell is our federal work study. As you know, we had recently increased our federal work studies minimum age. But that doesn't necessarily affect them as much because, as you know, federal work study students can only make a allotted amount of dollars in a semester or in a year. As a result, they're only making money faster, and if they're not properly managing their timesheets halfway through the semester, they'll be in a lot of trouble because they'll realize they're out of money that they can make, which leaves them either out of a job, and if they run out of a job, they're eligible for not being hired in the following semesters. And on top of that, then they have to go look for a new part-time job outside somewhere else. It's kind of something that creeps up on them, not a lot of people are aware of, and we're trying to work and help these federal work study students so they're not left behind with the rest of California. Okay, next slide, please. You want to take over this?
Sure. So these are just some of our meetings we had while we were in DC. Next slide, please. So this is the meeting that Dr. Walden and President Weiss went on while me, Senator Kleinsmith, and VP Herrera were at our meeting with Jay Obernolte. This is just the group picture that we got then.
And as you heard, usually in the other meetings, I believe we got around 30 minutes. For this one, they only let 2 representatives from every college go. And it was, I'd say, a little less than 15 minutes total, Dr. Walden, where Senator Padilla talked in a little bit at the beginning, and the last 5 minutes were him getting a nice, pretty picture of all of us together. And then he just let a couple people speak in the middle of it. So it was pretty interesting. But that's what we got from it. As you can see, Dr. Walden and I are right there, second row, me and my pink hair, Dr. Walden in the middle. Thank you. Next slide.
This is the meeting we got from Board Trustee President Brady with P. Aguilar. This was a little, as Brady said, it was a little bit shorter, but he did let us go a little bit over time as his staff was kind of called to the next meeting. He wanted to stay with us and finish hearing our stories. When we were all telling our stories, he actually made a connection with me personally, where I mentioned a disease that passes through my family on the male side of my dad's side of the family through all the males. He said that his grandfather actually has the same disease that my family does, so it's really cool to finally have that connection and see someone who has that same disease. So just to hear of it in general. Other than that, that was really it for that one. Next slide, please. This is our meeting with Jay Obernolte, the congressman for our district personally. Unfortunately, President Weiss is not in this meeting, as we all know, because she was in the meeting with Senator Padilla. But me, Senator Kleinsmith, and VP Herrera spoke with our stories. VP Herrera kind of led the chart on this one as next in line after President Weiss. He stayed there and listened to our stories. He was very engaging with all of us. He asked us questions like what our major was, what we're going to school for, our life paths, things like that. And then, as they said previously, he invited us later to dinner at his house where we got to spend time with him more and more of a personal setting instead of a more professional setting. Next slide. And then this is the meeting we had with President Ji-Hong Lee that Advisor Sewell got set up for us. It was kind of like an impromptu between session meeting, but he did sit down with us and give us a little bit of advice on how to properly advocate for our students, what to say to the congressman when we see them, and just advice in that area. Next slide.
So before we move on, we didn't get pictures up there, but I believe another notable member that we had met with was the parliamentarians of Germany. Yes.
Those are in the drive.
They're in the drive.
No, so
Six
there
of
were
them.
there were 2 members of the German parliament.
We're keeping up foreign
That were
relations
there.
via text.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, and I believe some of our board members got real familiar with them.
Oh.
But it was really interesting. They were very great people. They told us stories of where they came from and how they ran their parliament, and it was nice getting to know them. I don't think we got a group picture with them, which is why we couldn't put it up there, but we met them later.
We can't post this.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Well, we did meet with them, and it was interesting. Did we have any other notable members? I think we got the majority of them. All right.
Besides our passing by Nancy Pelosi in the hallway.
Yes.
In her orange pants.
And then now on to the little more fun parts of our adventures, our major landmarks that we were able to hit. Next slide, please. So as you see, we have the Space Needle up there. The Washington Monument. That second photo at the top middle is the Library of Congress. And then we hit a couple of our Smithsonians. We have the Smithsonian for art. I believe we hit both buildings for their art. And then we got the Smithsonian for National Air and Space Science. They were all beautiful buildings. We're very lucky to get them. And in the middle, bottom middle, you see Brendan Wood in front of the Supreme Court for Justice. So,
The Supreme Court.
yes, very beautiful photo. And then you have our lovely White House. We worked a lot, but we were able to hit a couple of these milestones. Did any of you guys have anything to add?
Oh, I mean, that's the oldest retirement house in the nation right there.
Whoa. I like that.
Yes, lots of applauding.
Jacob, call it the way it is, man.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You might make Fox News in the morning.
We did some meditation.
I love the
Meditating
meditating as well. Yes, exactly.
Yes, very wonderful. Next slide, please. Okay,
Oh my gosh.
As you know, we love food, and of course we're gonna have some food pictures on here. Next slide,
Oh,
please.
that's a classic.
So
Oh.
on the first one, we
I'm
have
such a good
ramen.
photographer.
And as you can see, Richie and I are up there kind of passed out from like the amount of food we've ate. Very tired.
In that picture, may I add, we are applauding the fact of getting ice cream after our giant meal we just had. So
And
those are really big.
we did have to take to go. And in the middle one, we went and had some tapas with paella. As you can see up there, that's the beautiful paella. That photo actually is a series of photos we took as Brandon went to the restroom and stole his phone and kind of just took a bunch of selfies from us. So it's just a bunch of random selfies of us, and that was just the best one we could find.
Oh my goodness.
And finally, we had Ethiopian food, which was interesting because you don't use utensils, you use your hands, and you scoop it up with bread, and it was very delicious, I would think.
Some of us got a fork and a plate. Couple of us did.
Not me.
I'm glad we ate that
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm
Truly. And about that, that's our group photo after, I believe, our first, what was it?
Our meeting with Pete Aguilar. That was,
That was
the
after
dinner
our
we
first
had
meeting.
afterwards.
Yes. And then later that night, we would go to visit Obernolte and Padilla. Next slide, please. And then that's kind of the end. This is us as one big happy family, but I guess we'll have a few final comments here. I would just like to say that you've heard a lot from these guys up here talking about how well-spoken we are, but honestly, not all that credit goes to us. That credit goes to my advisor and my mentor, because they're the ones who have taught us to go to where we are now. They're the ones who have mentored us this whole way, told us exactly what we needed to hear, who told us exactly what we hear in these conferences that a lot of students don't know. So we come into these conferences fully prepared and ready to go, and it's fully thanks to them because they know what they're doing and they know exactly how to get us where we want to go and where we want to be. And because of that, we're able to advocate so greatly for our students, and that's exactly why we do what we do, is because we advocate for students to have the right resources they need to get through their education, because you cannot expect students to be successful in their education if they're struggling to find their basic resources they need to survive. So, you guys want to add a few things?
Yeah, I have a couple things. The funniest one was when the flight attendant asked me if Robert was my grandpa.
We could
You
eat
had,
that all
no,
week.
they can only do that on Southwest Airlines. Delta and American, they'd file a claim against you.
Yeah, yeah. So close your ears.
Oh my
No,
god.
just on. But no, two serious things. Like Trustee Brady was saying, we were talking during dinner, me and Robert with him, and we were telling him horror stories about some of the students from Riverside Advocacy Conference, and how some of their trustees were speaking during public comment, some of their student trustees were being shunned out of the board meetings, all sorts of just malfunctions. And that's when Trustee Brady replied, well, why are we there if not the students? And I think that resonated with me because they invited us on this trip, and I thank them for inviting us on this trip and seeing the importance in that. The second thing is what Robert, Advisor Sewell, was saying about advocacy, and that it's like erosion. I don't know if you've ever seen, at one of the national parks, they have like 15 years of water dripping on it, 20, 50 years. And that's what advocacy is. Each time we go, it's just a little chip off the block. And it might not seem like a lot in the moment, but hopefully we'll be able to look back and see what we've been able to do.
Just piggybacking off of what Klein Smith was saying, one thing I took from this trip was being able to speak to the congressman face to face. When we went to our Washington, D.C. trip last March for the Student Advocacy Conference, we spoke to Overnolte staff. And when you speak to someone's staff, you never really truly know if it's getting back to the person you're wanting to get back to. So being able to speak face to face with Overnolte and him and being very engaging with us in what our lives and what we're doing and what we're trying to be here for was a very touching experience in itself. I also have some comments from our vice president who sent me what she wanted to say to the board and to all of you during this section. She said, I apologize for not being present. My absence is due to a family emergency, but I would like to thank the board for inviting us to the ACCT National Legislative Summit. I had a wonderful experience in getting to know our trustees better and realizing how not every college may experience what we have in getting to create amazing memories with you all. Also getting to experience the process in which our board of trustees go through and what gets brought up at these conferences. Feeling acknowledged, supported, and heard by our board and our representative officials is very remarkable and will forever leave a lasting impression. Thank you once again for this incredible opportunity.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
I'm gonna ask for it's 7:20, a 5-minute break. I know we have some people here that need to go, but I think, great presentation. Emotionally draining. I mean, we sat here, we're all looking at each other going, God, you couldn't even script this. Tim, obviously you got that on film. I mean, that's history. I mean, that was history tonight. So let's take 5 minutes and come back on time. Oh, man. Woo. So you stole it.
Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah. We stole his phone. Every time I walked away to go to the bathroom.
Let's go.
It's go time. Just start with Alvin and they'll
showtime.
come running back. Yeah.
Hit it.
Hit it.
We're waiting for Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan?
That's the call.
That's the call.
Okay, I promise. Right? You know
I
it.
guess.
See,
I've heard
look,
it
they come
before.
running. I don't know where he is.
I don't know where Dan went.
Now it's getting cold, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It was on 80.
Are we on 80?
It was on 80.
Oh my gosh. Please. Bless you. Are you okay?
I got a cold.
Oh. That's exciting.
There might be sinuses.
We were going to start the meeting without you.
Did you hear the call? I said,
It was your turn.
No, I did not.
Oh, you
Held up by John Pickard.
Not by
Really
John.
unacceptable.
Cowboy John?
That's the one.
Yep.
We were just talking. Okay. Todd, what happened to Todd?
He left. He said, "How dare you table me?"
All right, I'll go to the next thing. He can talk when he gets back. That's funny. ASB goals?
I do have updates. All right. So today there was a financial literacy workshop at 11 a.m. and we hope to have more of that, which aligns with one of our goals. And another one of our goals has to do with the expansion of clubs. Club Rush will be February 20th through 21st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Todd Scott, Chief of Staff. Do we get to see fancy slides?
Yeah.
Black and white.
Oh, good.
Ooh.
ASP.
That's not his.
That's not his.
I did want to share a picture of our trip in Victorville during while you all were in Washington, D.C.
Oh, there was blue sky, 55, 60 degrees, and no wind.
We were having a blast here. Atmospheric rivers and flooding and stuff. So just thought you'd enjoy that.
Was that our?
That's at Kern County.
Looks like we missed
Todd,
It was all we
Todd,
could come up with.
a little bit of history.
Fake news.
Before Silverwood was put in, back in the 30s, the river roared from Deep Creek Road to the banks of the Victor Valley College one year, almost a mile wide.
So on a more serious note, I have ACC JC update accreditation. Our peer review team is coming to campus on the February 20th and 21st. They are going to meet with several groups on campus, as well as having an open forum from 1 to 2 in the SAC upstairs. And you can see the purpose is basically what it is. It's an open forum. It's a chance for students, staff, anybody from the community to come and meet with our peer review team and just engage with the team about what is happening on campus. And, they seek openness and candor during those interactions. And the cabinet and the president and the cabinet will not be attending this meeting to encourage this openness and candor during that team visit. Tim? So the next day on the 21st is the exit report from 12:45 to 1:45 in the PAC. The team will be conducting their exit reports. So like this says, they're going to summarize everything they've seen, they've heard, the findings based on our self-evaluation report, anything that we've submitted since the submittal of that ICER, and their on-site observations.
So any of the board members who would like to attend the exit report to hear firsthand, it's 12:45 to 1:45 in the PAC. So the board is welcome to go to that. The previous Stay Open Forum, they've asked for the executive staff and people like you guys to not be there so they can just have the open communication without people feeling intimidated or that they might get in trouble for saying something or whatever. So they just feel that those meetings, they always ask it everywhere they go, that we stay out of the open forum, but everybody's welcome at the exit report.
Hopefully a couple of board members can be there. I can't, I've got an industry event down in Pomona, but hopefully we could have one or two there. I think it'd be great, just to hear what they have to say.
And usually, right after this, it's their exit report, so they exit right after this. With no more discussion with them or anything.
It's really black and white. It's like cold.
They leave.
Yeah, you can't talk to them as they leave.
Tim?
Oh.
Good job.
He keeps slipping in a puppy slide on me. I don't know what he's. Next. So just as a reminder, we had 4 core inquiries. 2 of the inquiries, number 3 and 4, they were really based on accommodations that we're expecting to receive from the team about our connections with the community and our striving to make the student experience here the best that we can possibly make it. But for 1 and 2, so the core inquiry 1 was how we confirm our total cost of ownership. And as you recall, back in December, I presented this core inquiry to you and what we might do to, we had this other chance to submit additional evidence. And what we've done since then is we've developed an administrative procedure, 3251, which describes how we calculate our total cost of ownership, and any kind of facility upgrades or anything like that need to go through this process. That AP 3251 will have to go through the participatory. Yeah, I'm having a rough time today. Where's Lorena? Man, I'm having a tough time with words. So anyway, it has to go through that thing, and then eventually be presented to the superintendent president. And then we also developed the total cost of ownership facilities guide, which describes our total square footage of the buildings. And it's going to help the institution guide our decision-making on the standards of maintenance to keep the facilities maintained, what kind of, like we build a facility or maintain facilities, what costs goes along with that all the way up to that to the end life of that facility. And we believe this will be what was actually missing to this core inquiry. So we will, we believe we will have sufficed their evidence needed for this core inquiry. So Tim, core inquiry number 2, which is what we knew, what we confessed to, so to speak, was that the decision-making processes on campus wasn't entirely clear. So we have since December, when we knew this was coming, we developed a VVC decision-making manual, which will also go through that process, that governance, and
the participatory process.
Yeah. Okay. And go through the academic senate. So it'll be vetted also, just like that AP will. And then thanks to Ginny, we also do a year-end evaluation of our governance committees.
Which ones?
Participatory. There we go.
Nailed it.
And so I definitely think this is what they were looking for, and this is what we put together, and it gives a clear guidelines for all campus constituencies on how decisions are made at Victor Valley College. That's it. Questions?
This is a great document. This is a great, I think it answers a lot of questions.
And I will say on the governance piece, we just codified how it actually already happens. So it's not like changing anything. It's just making it clear so that everyone will be able to just go there and say, this is how it happens. So we give this out when we onboard people onto the into the campus as new employees. So it's a good thing, just putting down in writing how you actually do it. We have an AP that, AB 1201, that tells us how participatory governance works. Messing with us. And nobody's going to be able to say that. We're going to go back to shared governance, which we're not supposed to talk about. But anyway, great work on that. Great work on that document.
And we fully expect to be fully accredited for another 7 years. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Todd.
Now, John Nolan, facilities update. Did that river go through our building?
Well, some of my pictures are still wet, so I don't know if you'll be able to see them. It did get pretty wet on campus. A lot going on down there. So this is on the north side of the event center. There's some poured in place casted benches around. There'll be pavers all around that area and a lot of palm trees. So next slide. So this is a catch basin that we did as a change order when we moved the water from the upper lake to the lower lake, which some people don't know is down there. Dr. Walden for one, but
I do now.
Now.
So we had a catch basin that was above grade, and it tended to get really wet back there. So we went to a below grade design and piping, so we won't have those issues behind the home grandstands anymore. Next slide. So this is Fish Hatchery Road looking to the south, and those are some of the new palm trees going in. That's the visitor side bleachers. Next slide. There's a palm tree going in on Fish Hatchery. Next slide. So there's like 44 lamps around the back of the event center, so it's going to be lit up really well. That's one of the bases being poured there. Next slide. There's a large, wide sidewalk on the north end of the football field for pedestrian traffic. Next slide. They're paving the track area and the D zone of the football field, and you can see back in the gray in the back is actually gravel underneath the football field. Next slide. So they are putting in turf. This is a picture of the Brock padding that goes underneath the turf. So it's a styrofoam pad that goes on top of the rock, and then the turf is laid on top of that Brock padding. So next slide. So here they're sewing some of the turf together. So it comes in rolls, and they have to sew each roll together. And they also have to make cutouts for the yard line markers and the dashes and the logos in the middle of the field. So that work is still to come. Next slide. There's a picture of the end zone with some of the markings. That's the soccer goal right there in the yellow. So they do have some of the other dashes and stuff installed in the field itself. Next slide. So there's another shot from the sideline looking the other way. Next slide. So they're erecting the very nice scoreboard. Next slide. There it is, complete. That's all high definition video. Very good sound system. So it's a really nice scoreboard. Very big if you haven't seen it. Next slide.
And just don't compare the quality of that to what you see out here on Bear Valley, because that probably needs to be replaced someday. But what we bought for back at the football field is top notch. You'll be able to actually read it.
Yep. play e-games on it, hopefully, esports. So now we'll move into the wet conference room that got a little bit wet from the atmospheric river. This is just a picture of some of the duct work and the soffit inside the main conference area. Next slide. Same, there's skyfold panels that separate the rooms. There's 2 skyfold panels that will come down and separate into, make the one big room into 3 separate conference areas, salons. Next slide. This is just some fireproof plywood that's installed in the data room. Next slide. There's some masons putting up some tile in the exterior restroom area. Next slide. This is what it'll look like. That's the tile in the interior restroom. Next slide. These are the north elevation windows. So all the salons on the north end have, basically, they're mostly all glass. So that's the framing, the aluminum framing. The next slide shows some of the glass is actually being installed right now. Next slide. This is some insulation installed in the interior. Next slide. So here's our rain damage. So as you'll see, there's in a lot of areas, it got a lot of water in the hallways and got the wallboard and insulation wet on the bottom. So they had to basically demo out anywhere from 18 to 24 inches and replace the wet, dry out the area, replace the wet insulation, and replace the wet wallboard. So that's the main corridor of the event center. Next slide. That's that's the conference room, I believe, on the south side of the building. Same thing.
That's the conference room where the board will have its closed sessions.
Yeah.
10-seat table in there.
Next slide. That's actually a janitor's closet. Same thing. That's the mop sink in the corner. Next slide. So there's a walk-off called the walk-off mat at the east elevation of the building. Was out of square by an inch, so they have to tear it all out and redo it. They tried to convince us that it would be okay, but we told them that's not what we paid for. So they have to bust out a good portion of that concrete and re-pour it. So next slide. That's pretty much what they're doing there. Just dropping that down low enough where we can re-pour it. Next slide. If you haven't been by the baseball field, it kind of looks like,
It's a great mess. It looks like a great mess.
Looks like we have a big time gopher problem, but it's not. It's all brand new irrigation that's going in with a brand new field. Next slide. This is the warning track irrigation. So we're starting to get that work going, and that's drying out now. So hopefully we can get the irrigation put in and get the sod moved in. I think that's it. Is that? Yeah. So, yeah. A lot of people working. They're working weekends, so we're putting a lot of pressure on them as far as schedule. It's delayed a little bit. It's getting a little bit uncomfortable for the May event, but we're hopeful that we can get them back on schedule. Any questions? And then
You're doing the best you can.
Yeah. We're disappointed that they didn't protect weatherproof the facility. They had plenty of notice that the rain was coming. But,
and they're obviously going to pay for that.
Oh yeah, that's all on them. Yeah.
And they know there's another storm coming this weekend.
Yeah. Yep. So, but that's it's theirs until we accept it. So, it's going to be interesting.
They have to pay so much a day past the day that it was agreed to be completed, which is already by now, unless they can prove it was our responsibility that it was delayed. So that's where there will be arguments at the end about how much they come up with or how much we concede.
And whether or not they ever do a job up here again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, John. The last item on my agenda, Kirsten. Foundation.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It is scholarship season in the foundation, and our scholarship drive opened January 9th. I'm pleased to say we've had over 1,000 applications already. Thank you. 223 of which are complete, we're way ahead of the curve in getting those done. Chris Nunez, our Director of Scholarships, has been doing outreach. She's been at the Veterans Center. We've been working with the Tutoring Center, the Writing Center, and at the high school. So hopefully the message is getting out there. It seems to be from the numbers that we're tracking. So really pleased to do that. Because it's scholarship season, I did want to bring a student up who has been a scholarship recipient. So I'd like to invite Haley Reyes up.
Good evening, everyone. Trustees, thank you for having me today. As you know, I'm Haley Reyes. I am a student here at Victor Valley College. I just want to say Victor Valley College is a special place to me. I actually grew up on this campus. My mom is an employee here. It has taught me so much. I've been able to create my support system ever since I was young. So like having that strong foundation and getting me set in the goals for my college career has taught me a lot. I'm actually currently majoring in criminal justice and psychology with the hopes to pursue a career in behavior analysis because I just love the way the brain works. As I said, I have a strong support system here, but starting off, I didn't think I'd have the financial support that I needed. So I would look into resources, talk to the people that have supported me along the way to see what can help me out here. And I found out there was a scholarship drive last year. So I filled out an application and I submitted it. I ended up being awarded the Today's Women Foundation Scholarship and a CSEA scholarship. This money was able to help me afford books, tuition, extra supplies that I needed for my academic journey that I probably wouldn't have been able to pay from like my own pocket or anything like that. My thing is, I love striving to make a difference. Like that is my thing. So being able to know this knowledge, not only for my own journey and benefiting it, but also being able to share this with other students and let them know of the opportunities that VVC has. Like we know VVC is the place to be. That's our slogan, and it is definitely true on that. The way that we have amazing opportunities and just everything that is given to us and supports us only sets us up for success, and it's only going to go even farther from there. Thank you.
That's all I have. And your mom is in the background, Joanna. You've been here 26 years.
Kirsten, what's the cutoff for somebody that wants to do a scholarship to be able?
Anytime. So if the monies are coming in now before we distribute, which is in May, we can use it for this coming up fall and then next spring.
But is there a cutoff for the May?
So yeah, so if it's in by May, then we can still use it for this coming up fall and spring.
But you couldn't use it for May?
No.
Oh.
It would these scholarships, the scholarship drive we're doing now is all for fall 24 and spring 25.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I was supposed to announce when John got finished, to remind the board that on February the 24th at 11 a.m., John and Morley and myself will be meeting the board. We'll be giving you all hard hats and vests.
What's the date?
February the 24th, at 11 a.m., to go on a tour of the Educational Event Center and the field. So you guys put that down. Hope you can all make it. And right now, We have a very special introduction of a brand-new employee, and I'm going to let Frank do this for me because the person reports to him.
Alrighty, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing? Tonight I have the awesome privilege to welcome back to Victor Valley College Aubrey Berry, who will be working as our program manager for Justice Involved Education. So welcome, Aubrey. He'll be overseeing our, I feel like this is so low.
Yours is too tall.
Maybe. Our correspondence education programs that we have at the 4 institutions for the federal prison and the Youth Detention Center in Apple Valley. And so he's hit the ground running, started last week. We've made some connections with him and all the primary points of contacts at each of the institutions, and doing a great job, and just happy to have you on board. Welcome.
And you welcomed him. You welcomed him back because he had been here before.
Yes, I'll let him. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so hello, everyone. Thank you for having me here today, and thank you for the opportunity, Frank, and all those that were on the interview board. So yeah, I graduated here from VVC in 2012. I was a student athlete. Ended up graduating and going on to Azusa Pacific University, got my bachelor's and master's from there, and ended up starting working in higher ed. So for me, this is a full circle moment to come back here at VVC. I never thought that this would be an opportunity. So I'm so excited about it, and I'm looking forward to what we do.
Yay. Welcome. Thank you very much. All right, that concludes the Superintendent President's report.
Our next section is constituency reports. Do we have anybody from the Academic Senate?
No.
Nope. Do we have anybody from AFT part-time?
No.
Nope. Do we have ASB?
Always.
Always.
That's my girl. So I'll try to make this quick because we're running late tonight. But on February 28th at 8 a.m. in the PAC, we have a Black History Month celebration. And the next day on February 29th, we have a free art gallery for the Black History Month in the PAC lobby again. And then again on February 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., we have the VVC Career Prep and Exploration in Old Town Victorville with DVL and Millionaire Mind Kids. As you heard earlier, Club Rush is from February 20th and 21st in the SAC from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The February Rams Monthly will be out next week, and Happy Lunar New Year's to everyone. Thank you.
Right on, fight on. Right, Richard? CSEA?
As she said, always here. Good evening, Dr. Walden and Board of Trustees. We're happy to say our members will be voting on Thursday at our chapter meeting on the initial contract proposal, so it should be on the March agenda, and we're looking forward to setting negotiation dates as soon as we can after that to get this wrapped up. On January 31st, the classified professionals in the Adult Education Department assisted with the ESL and GED orientation that successfully served 121 students. Many of these students were actually new students. On Saturday, I, with my family, attended a night of comedy and magic that was sponsored by ASB, and I wanted to thank them for giving us free tickets. They offered them to all the employees. If you've never attended, which I hadn't in the 18 years I've worked here, it was a really fun time. My grandkids loved it, so thank you very much for doing that for the employees. Now, I want to introduce my team so everyone is aware who the classified leaders are on the campus and who they can go to if they ever have questions or concerns. This team is about truth and transparency, and we will always do our best to address anything that is brought to us. So, you will all stand. I won't make you come up here. Just kind of wave when I say your name. So our first vice president is Pablo Saldana. Our second vice president is Loretta Amaro. Our chief union steward is Carlos Martinez. Teresa Bazurdo is our treasurer. Carmen Negretti is our communications officer. I do have two members that were not able to make it tonight, and that is Armando Barajas, who is our site representative coordinator, and Carla Carrillo, who is our secretary. And last but not least, our negotiations team. Our chief negotiator is Michelle Laveau. She is joined by myself and Carlos Martinez, along with our new labor representative, Jason Tickhurst. That's all I have for tonight. Thank you. And because it's late, we are all going to exit. So
We understand.
first day of semester, these people have been working hard all day.
We took that break, the first break, to get people out. Thanks. We appreciate it. CTA?
So CTA is not here, but I am proud to say that we have finished our negotiations, and they announced today that the week of the 25th, they will begin a 5-day voting period for ratifying the new contract. So we're hoping to also bring that one in March.
Management? Well, we heard your name like a million times with Alfred.
So on that
Now you
note,
come back again, huh?
first let me thank and shout out Mr. Alfred Logan for sharing my Spring Valley Lake street name with all my colleagues.
What's that, Frankie?
Yeah. It's okay. We could keep it going. So tonight, I actually wasn't scheduled to be here. Our representative couldn't make it. So after a very epic rock, paper, scissors battle with Amy, here I am. But I figured what a great opportunity to provide the board with updates that are going on in our area. So everything that we do is customized training that benefits students and employers within our community. And so some of the different initiatives that we have going on right now, next month in March, you guys should be receiving for voting for approval a renewal agreement with the Youth Detention Center, Arise in Apple Valley, to continue our in-person construction classes at the detention center for that population. Those students will take 4 different classes. It's very hands-on. They do all the same hands-on projects that we do here on main campus. They're able to fulfill within that site as well. So look out for that. We recently wrapped up our winter CT90 construction tech multi-craft core curriculum. It's essentially a pre-apprenticeship readiness class recently, and it's a great program. Those students, just within a short period of time, they build giant storage units. They do everything from the planning to the foundation to the framing to sometimes they add electrical to it, and they build it as well as they're given the opportunity to go on field trips to tour the different union training centers, and as well we get guest speakers that speak to them about the different trade opportunities. So it's a lot more than just a typical class. There's a lot of more added benefits for the program. The students also receive OSHA certification training, MC3 training, and it's all at no cost to the students through a partnership we have with San Bernardino Valley College, which is awesome. Another update that I have is we are in the second semester for our California Apprenticeship Initiative nursing grant. And so if you recall, we got a grant mid last year that allowed us to sponsor around 60 different students to get all their schooling paid for the nursing program, as well as partner them with a local hospital. So we've been working really closely with St. Mary's and Desert Valley on that. Prior to last semester, we had a matching day that we hosted here on campus where all the students got to apply to be interested into the program, and then we paired them up with the hospitals for different panel level interviewing with the hospitals, and then every single student that applied ended up getting an offer letter from a hospital, and they've begun their nursing program, had their expenses paid for. They're in NP1 this term, and the goal is to get them a paid internship while they're in school now, and then they have the opportunity to stay within that hospital once they graduate from VVC. Another update, I always go over the time. Another update that I have is our partnership with Victor Elementary School District is expanding. We obviously serve what we've been doing through Contract Ed through their Family Resource Center, where we do ESL, we do GED prep, and we do Spanish. But more recently, they've grown their center to having an offsite location at Mojave Vista. So now we're doing classes over there for that side of town as well. And we're also doing child development courses for staff of VESD that have to take a certain number of units in child development to be able to teach certain levels of TK. So that's something we're doing. And we're actually hoping to expand that to other school districts and other needs. Let's talk about it. Yeah. And so that's my time, but thank you.
Thank you, Frankie.
Frankie.
Way to go, Alfred. You know, I knew there was a good connection there somewhere.
Loves it.
On our consent agenda, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered by the Board of Trustees to be routine and have been approved by our President Superintendent under Board Policy 2430. There'll be no separate discussion on any of these items prior to the time the board votes on them unless a board member requests a specific item be removed from the consent agenda for discussion or separate vote. Public comment on consent agenda items from anyone completing a card will be heard prior to the board's vote on the consent agenda. The complete written request to address the board shall be submitted before the beginning of the open session portion of the meeting. This is the opportunity for the public to address the board on any consent agenda items. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual and total of 15 minutes per topic. Speakers will be timed electronically, and all speakers will be called to the podium to speak at the appropriate time to address the board. Only those who have been recognized by the board president will be permitted to speak under Board Policy 2350. Do we have any, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do you have a second? Do you have any items that we wish to remove? Nope.
Me.
Trustee Tarpley? No public comment? Oh, student president.
Yes.
Thank you, Trustee Tarpley. Nobody heard that.
I try to stay quiet.
I know. It's okay. Did it come through? Still waiting? Circling the globe.
Hasn't popped up for me yet.
It didn't?
Let me,
would.
sometime. Yes.
Yes is your vote?
Yes. And my answer to your question.
I thought I was the one that had technology problems.
In the new board room, you're gonna have hardwired, so you don't, not be working through Wi-Fi, so this nonsense will go away,
Oh, really?
No.
hopefully.
Dennis, there's hope for you and I.
Yeah.
Action agenda. The complete written request to address the board shall be submitted at the beginning of the open session portion of the meeting. Individuals who want to comment on any action items may do so after being recognized by the board president before board discussion of these particular items during the meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per individual, a total of 15 minutes per topic. Speakers will be timed electronically, and all speakers will be called on at the appropriate time to speak. Only those who have been recognized by the board president will be permitted to speak under Board Policy 2350. Do we have anybody to speak? Nope. Item 12.1, no, let's see, 12.2. 12.2, we have a board resolution of Black History Month, which I have right here, and we will read out loud. And I know that Michelle got it all ready for me, and it's hard to misplace.
Here,
Thanks.
we need a motion. Motion?
Do you have a second? On the motion of Trustee Tarpley and a second by Trustee Henderson, the following resolution is hereby adopted. Whereas in 1776, the Declaration of Independence recognized the United States of America as a new nation dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that amongst those are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And whereas in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln, in reference to the Declaration of Independence, stated, 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. And Whereas Black History Month, celebrated in February, dates back to 1926, when Carter G. Woodson set aside a special period of time in February to recognize heritage and achievement of Black Americans. And whereas the contributions of African American citizens as scientists, inventors, legislators, educators, explorers, military leaders, and countless other professions have greatly benefited our nations, and whereas Black History Month is an opportunity for all Americans to commemorate the struggles and victories of African Americans in our history, their invaluable contributions to society, and their unyielding dedication to the overall protection and defense of the nation in matters of war and peace. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Victor Valley Community College District recognizes Black History Month, encourages all citizens to explore the rich and significant heritage of the African American community, and honors the vital role of African Americans in the economy, culture, and community throughout the district and the United States of America, passed and adopted by the governing board on February 13th of 2024. We have a second read. We have four. What's that?
We have to.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yes.
She's a yes.
A student trustee?
Yes.
Thanks for assist. I knew she'd come through. She's as tired as I am. She wants to get to actually 13.1. Have to negotiate. Can it come through? Okay.
So do you want to do?
So we have the second read and approval of 4 board policies, 12.3, 12.4, 12.5, and 12.6. Board policy 6250, which is budget management. Board policy 6800, which is occupational safety. Board policy 7340, which are leaves, and board policy 7240, confidential employees. What we have typically done in the past is had a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, motion by trustee Wood, second by trustee Tarpley, to adopt them, and to save Michelle some work, we do a verbal vote so she can then tally them together. Because we've already had a first read for those that don't know. We've already read them, we've gone through them, they've been sent to us, and we've already approved them. So, want to do a vote? Student trustee? I was getting there. She's like, oh, me.
And everybody else? Yay.
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 Yeah.
So do we skip over 13.1?
You have to give her some time. Don't you dare skip over that one.
I know.
Motion
Jacob's
to,
sitting there going, do I get to go back again?
motion
Yeah, they're
to,
going back again.
remove 13.1.
No. Denied.
I second it. No, only can. We all done?
You're just
No,
so you
babies.
can't go.
It's okay.
Okay. We ready, Michelle? No? Almost?
That's a lot of pressure.
It's not me who's slow, it's the system.
We know
Trustee
it's
John, you've been so quiet tonight. You were really well behaved in Washington.
Yeah, we're all proud of you.
It's like a one-sided conversation. Can't say that.
Good job, girl.
Got it? Okay, 13.1. This is a big decision.
Motion.
ASB out-of-state student travel
Second.
by the VVC jet to the National
I hope not.
Student Advocacy Conference in Washington, D.C. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by
Second.
trustee Tarpley, a second by trustee Wood. Do we have any discussion?
I just can't say enough how fantastic of a job you've already done. So just continue the work. You guys are amazing. And I know with more of you, you'll get and have more advocacy and opportunities.
How many are going on this trip, Robert? Well, good.
Depends on current council members, and then we always take students that want to be part of ASB.
Do you take any adults that want to go?
Every student's an adult, yeah.
Are you going to donate to ASB?
Huh?
Some cash?
Yeah.
Well, I'll take your credit card as donation to get you
We
out
will
there.
be donating well to this college this year. Kirsten will find out.
Yeah, we'll take some students, I believe Tim's on the list to go as well to help. Definitely students, we need a couple people. So we'll take students that are on council and those that want to be part of ASB next year. They
Fantastic.
get a little practice this year, so next year, when they go.
They know how to do it.
They know what to say.
Yeah.
We've got another conference here in California coming up. We've got 4 resolutions and some students in it tomorrow.
Wow. So if you take them to some of the same restaurants, they're gonna recognize them. They're gonna say, I remember Jacob. Yeah, he ate a lot of ice cream that night, so. You got it. That's one I missed. Okay.
So I'm
Call
only
for-
voting yes if you guys promise not to go down that street we almost went down.
Yes. No Chinatown.
You gotta promise not to go down that
It was
street.
Lunar New Year.
No, I need a pinky promise.
It is not me you gotta worry.
Mama's not there to take care of you.
But I will tell you this, if you want a really great burger, go to Shake Shack, and it's right down on 9th, right down for the marquee, so it's a great burger.
So stupid.
Okay.
Capital Burger.
Call for a vote, student trustee?
Absolutely.
Oh, my, yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Could you
Wow.
imagine?
Cool.
No.
Send us pictures.
Online voting's open.
There it is.
Bingo. Wow, it passed, 5-0. Okay, item 14, we have a purchase agreement with the Olfen Group. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Motion by trustee Henderson, second by
So
trustee
this is
Tarpley.
a $335,000 purchase for furniture for the conference rooms. The new the conference event center, sorry. There's still some more FF&E in the kitchen, but this buys all the tables and it buys a 30 by 30 dance floor. It buys a good sized platform, all the chairs and tables and stuff for the offices and so on. So we thought we got a good price on this. We were expecting this to come in a lot higher. And we bought good stuff too.
Student trustee?
Yes.
I say that and it'll fall apart, but okay.
I know, you just doomed it.
You didn't buy it from IKEA, did you?
But from Open.
Oh.
Oh.
Fourteen point two, Dell Financial Services Computer Lease Agreement.
Motion?
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Pinkerton.
I need Jay Cohen here to explain why you're spending $2.7 million.
I think everyone might agree that the state of some of the computer systems on campus is ancient. I was in a conference room, training room the other day, saw one that was literally 15 years old. The execution of this item will allow us to change out and replace every system on campus, including labs, classrooms, library, etc., over the course of the next 5 years, and put a plan in place to ensure that that technology remains up to date, because this is a lease agreement, so in year 6, we'll be asking for some additional funds to go replace year 1.
So it comes out in payments. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's 3 years of $750,000, $757,000, and then the last 2 years, $198,000. But this will eventually ensure that all computers on the campus are at least no older than 5 years.
I went to the Smithsonian Institute. They could probably take a computer there. And they have 21 of them back in Washington, I found out.
Once we wipe them clean, they can have them.
Yeah, no, they probably take it, so. Student trustee?
Yes.
It was working for a minute.
Not working now?
Did everybody else go?
Mhm.
Everybody but you?
Oh, wow.
I didn't call that.
He's
Aye.
I wonder if he's part of that 1/3 of America that is challenged by digital.
The digital divide.
Digital.
Yeah, digitally not up to it.
Good, okay, we finally got him. 14.3, non-resident tuition fee.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Pinkerton.
John, you want to explain this? I want him to explain what the number is, why we have this number.
So the law says that the Board of Trustees has to adopt a non-resident tuition fee by March 1st for next fall. So there's basically three different calculations that the chancellor's office gives us three options as a district. One of them is a calculated rate, basically our cost of education divided by FTS, and they come up with a unit rate, which I think on your screens is 344. And then
366.
Okay, 366, and then there's a statewide average. So that's all the whole system divided by the FTS, the system cost, and it's I don't have it in front of me.
406.
406. Or you can adopt a contiguous district's rate. And since we are contiguous with Kern, their rate's 329, is that what it is? And so we're recommending that we adopt their rate because we want to be competitive on the non-resident side. So if we do have out-of-state residents coming, we can have a lower rate than, say, San Bernardino or Chaffee or others who don't have the Kern sitting next to them.
Motion. We have a motion.
Student trustee, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
Yes? Thank you, John.
There it is.
God bless you. God bless you.
Oh, that's you.
Oh, boy.
15.1, non-classified short-term employees. Motion?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley and a second by trustee Pinkerton. Dr. Walden? Non-classified. 15.
Oh, this is just standard monthly.
Okay.
No comment.
Student trustee?
Yes.
Well, hopefully in the new conference room, it'll be quicker.
It will. It'll be hard work.
You know, it seems like it's getting slower. Great. 15.2, renewal of administrator contracts. Dr. Walden?
Motion?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Pinkerton. Any comment?
No.
Student trustee?
Yes.
Fifteen point three, update the classified job description for student services assistant. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Tarpley, a second by trustee Henderson. Any comments? Student trustee?
Yes.
Fifteen point four, update to classified job description for student services specialist. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Wood, second by trustee Henderson. Any discussion? Student trustee?
Yes.
Fifteen point five, new classified job description and salary placement for senior veteran services specialist. Do I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Wood. Any discussion? Student trustee?
Yes.
Is 15-6 the one that we should skip over? Is that Frankie's?
No,
No,
not
that's,
his yet.
That's not his? Which is it?
we're not skipping that.
His is
We can skip over.
15-8.
15-8,
We're
we
not
can skip
skipping
over.
that.
Got to the end, yeah.
15-6, revised management job description for Director of Instruction. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Henderson. Any discussion? Student trustee?
Yes.
Oh, did? Okay, I didn't see it. 15-7, new management job description, salary placement for Executive Director of Instruction.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Tarpley, second by trustee Pinkerton, or is it Wood? Pinkerton. Pinkerton. Any discussion? Student trustee?
Yes.
This thing circles the globe. What's, oh. Tired.
Not really.
Okay, the one we've all been waiting for tonight. 15.8, new executive administrator job description and salary placement for Vice President of Administrative Services. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second. I have a motion by trustee Pinkerton and a second by trustee Henderson. Any discussion?
So that's his job description, but 15-10 is putting him in it.
Oh, so he didn't get it yet.
So maybe you want to hold off.
So do I have a motion just to go home tonight?
Yeah.
Student trustee?
No.
Frankie, I'm tired,
You
dude.
still have to get through 16.1.
You do?
I'll take that one.
What's 16.1?
The Model United
Wait
Nations.
a minute. Wait a minute, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm 4 minutes within my bedtime, so that's why I'm getting tired. Okay, they come through yet?
Oh, no, my fault.
Uh-oh, wow.
I
We have
know.
an admission here.
Write it down.
I have. I have.
That's 15-9.
You go through it, great.
Sorry.
15.9, reorganization of the Veterans Resource Center. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion.
I have a motion by trustee Wood and a second by trustee Pinkerton. Any discussion? Student trustee?
Yes.
So it's 15-10.
Here it is.
You gotta take us out to lunch or something, Frankie.
Not at all, not even a little bit.
This is the definite no vote right here coming up, for sure.
I think we should call for a 20-minute break. What do you think?
No.
No.
I'm tired and I have a day
Yeah,
job.
20-minute break to a no vote.
I got a day job too. It starts at 4 o'clock in the
Yeah.
morning. Okay, 15-10, reorganization, position change, executive director, guess who it is, instruction. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Henderson.
There you
And we
go.
have a second by trustee Tarpley.
Oh, thank
Any discussion?
Ooh.
Anybody have any pictures? Nope.
Any other street names?
Alfred, now's your time, dude. Huh? You wanna use leverage? Huh?
I feel like
Hey, real
Alfred's,
estate school taught you leverage, didn't it?
Alfred's getting taken out to lunch
Yeah.
tomorrow. He's got
Yeah.
nothing to say.
No, he's gonna take him on over and show him the jet. Student trustee?
Yes.
Alfred, we have a jet. Call
No,
us.
we don't. We
Yeah.
have a skeleton of a jet.
Doesn't go anywhere, but we have a jet.
Engine.
Yeah.
So
They have
nobody
nicer
travels
jets
in
at the
it.
kids' playground, but
Yep. Okay. We're almost good.
drum roll. 5 no's.
Great. We just texted your wife. She's at the car dealership. She got the chrome rims rather than the alloy rims. And they're in gold, not silver. So good luck. 16.1, out-of-state student travel, Model United Nations. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I have trustee Tarpley first and a second by trustee Wood. Any conversation? No?
Well, these students had come and presented to ASB about what they do, and they're going to go out and advocate it for us the way we do, but in a conference, and I believe they compete, correct, Advisor Sewell? So we're advocating for them so that they do well and come back and represent us well as well.
Of course.
Great, they always do well. Student trustee?
Yes.
Great.
You know what it does? It goes 1, 2, 3. Like once he votes, I can vote. That's what it's doing tonight. Yeah.
16.2, 2024-2025 academic calendar. Dr. Walden?
Motion.
Do I have a-
Todd says it's right, so I'm going by his word.
Second by Henderson. Henderson said.
Okay, so we have a motion by trustee Tarpley, a second by trustee Henderson. Dr. Todd, is it okay? Are we square? Okay.
Now you get it back.
Yeah, okay. We trust you. You're the second best dressed guy in town. And at least here tonight. Student trustee?
Yes.
Sorry, Art. That wasn't including you.
Yeah. Dude, Art's just sitting there quiet. He's getting
Yeah.
shots taken.
And he eats bananas just to stay in great shape to keep that suit looking good.
see that? Yes, you did.
Dude, let me tell you, I put on 5 pounds and walked 94,000 paces in Washington. Didn't drink enough, I think. 17.1, increase rise interpreting services purchase order. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Tarpley, a second by trustee Henderson. Dr. Walden?
This is something for access, our students that need accessibility.
Okay. Student trustee?
Yes.
I need to do a verbal vote on this one, please.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Thank you.
6 yes.
Adjournment is the intention of Victor Valley Community College District to comply with the Americans with Disability Act in all aspects. Any person with a disability may request that the agenda be available in the appropriate alternative format. A request for a disability-related modification or accommodation may be made by a person with a disability who requires a modification or accommodation in order to participate in the public meeting of Monica Martinez, Victor Valley College, 18422 Bear Valley Road, Victorville, California, 92395-5849, 760-245-4271, extension 2455, from 8:30 a.m. to 5 o'clock p.m. Monday through Friday, at least 48 hours prior to the meeting to make reasonable arrangements under Government Code, Section 54954.2. Do I have a motion to
Motion.
adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Tarpley, a second by Henderson. This meeting is adjourned.